Hi everyone, we're here this morning with Hope Mirlis of A More Perfect Union, New York. I'm so excited to be sharing Hope's expertise with you today. And we're going to talk a little bit about communication and relationships and sort of how that plays into what Hope does. So welcome, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much, it's awesome to be here.
Cool, I'm so glad. So tell me a bit about what you do. What is A More Perfect Union?
A More Perfect Union is the gathering of the work that I do. I'm a wedding officiant. I offer premarital counseling as well as a yoga practice just for weddings.
That's fantastic. Tell me a bit about what that involves.
It can really do a lot of different things.
Okay.
So it can be just for a couple. Before they get married, as kind of like, I call it like a physical therapy session to gather together and be together, whether or not they practice yoga on the regular or if they don't.
Okay.
I also do it more as a bachelorette party or a women's center event where the bride could get together with all of her friends and we would laugh together, we would do some asana. And because I'm not a traditional yogi, if they want to have a glass of champagne or some cocktail afterwards, that's fine too.
That sounds like the perfect combination of pre-wedding fun. Like, what a great way to de-stress and get centered for everything.
And then I also do it the day of, a lot of times.
Fantastic.
Too, with sometimes just the bride and the maid of honor, or the bride and her mom, or the whole wedding party, just to center and breathe before the actual celebration and rituals.
That's fantastic. So the connection then between that and the Zen Bride, Zen Bride being the workshop series that you're running to kind of connect with womanhood and with sort of going on this journey and this adventure. Can you talk a little bit about what that involves?
The Zen Bride is a larger piece.
Okay.
When I came back to New York about a year and a half ago, it seemed to me that as we know, as being New Yorkers or living in New York, that everything goes so fast.
Absolutely.
And working with the brides that I've worked with since I've been back, there doesn't seem to be time for breath.
Okay. Especially when you're planning.
Especially when you're planning, and a lot of the brides that I've worked with, either just through their ceremonies or through counseling, there was sometimes a lack of understanding of what was going on in their bodies. Sometimes it was, that they were having a disconnect with their groom about what the planning process was like.
Sure.
So I decided to create a program. It would be a one-day program called the Zen Bride, which would gather brides together to talk about these issues together. So if like one of their friends just happens to say, "Dude, what's going on with you?" They may not be able to explain it. And especially if their friend has not gotten married before, they may not understand what that is.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't care. Like, the friends just want to know how the planning is going and how the excitement is going and how they can help as part of the wedding, without any care for what's going on with them physically and mentally.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we don't get ourselves ready for marriage that way. We don't have a series of elders that'll tell you what's going on. So a lot of times it's just kind of repressed. And then there may be, a lot of emotion that doesn't know where it's supposed to go, or a lot of crying, a lot of not understanding what's going on. So I created this workshop for brides to get together with other brides, to go through what this rites of passage is, to take a moment out to learn how to be Zen, and that could be through meditation, through yoga, through breathing, through laughter, through learning how to ask for help, and learning how to share what you need to share.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a really good way for these brides to get together and share and celebrate, and then also network and talk about what's working for them and what's not.
That's a huge piece of it too, to have that support and be able to kind of bounce things off of other people who are exactly in the same position as you are at the same time. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure that everybody has the information of how to get in touch with you about that, because
Sure.
that sounds like such a cool resource.
Yeah, the next one's in February.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay. The connection between, I guess, that transitioning into pre and marital counseling, what does that look like for the folks that you work with? Kind of what are the big things that you deal with?
Usually, I work with my premarital couples a good, 5 to 6 months before their actual wedding.
Okay.
And what we do in counseling is we go through the reasons why people get divorced in this country. Because I'm a secular, non-denominational officiant,
Okay.
I don't come to premarital counseling from a religious place. It's not something that interests me, and it's not something that really interests the couples that I work with.
Okay.
So what made sense to me was to look at the reasons why relationships do not work, and then go through those reasons with them to strengthen and build their relationships.
So proactive.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Because, fortunately, I'm working with couples that are not going through divorce. I'm working primarily with couples that are just on the verge of taking their next steps together and getting married. So it's a huge excitement, and it's a really great opportunity to be able to share anything, ask anything.
That's great.
Before you get married.
That's really, really valuable, because having that time and having that expert there who's going to kind of guide you through that as a couple and in the unique way that you need it to work for you as a pair. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I give them a real good space to be able to be able to speak. I mean, I could know a couple well, but they're going to know themselves much better than me, always.
Yeah.
So what I do is I offer them a space to be able to ask the questions. And because I'm an outside eye, I don't let anything slide. I'll call them out on their stuff because they're not getting to the point, or they're not truly asking the question that they want to ask, whether or not their partner realizes it or not.
That's actually a really interesting connection, because that's very much how we work in coaching, in that we build a foundation of tools and of internal resources that we can draw upon when things get crazy and when things are outside of our control, and we just need to have something to fall back on that leaves our great habits intact and our self-care intact, so that we can more ably attack the chaos. That's so valuable. So it seems that's very much what you're doing, like arming people with this arsenal of things to be able to get through the stresses that come with being married and being an adult and living in a crazy city. So that's so neat. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool connection there. I
Yeah.
like it.
No, me too.
All right. What's sort of the health and wellness piece as it plays in for your couples? Like, how does that work into the conversation? Do you see that coming up for them often?
I do, in very surprising ways. One of the grooms said that he would not be okay with his wife being overweight.
Did that come from a place too of caring, like that I want you to be healthy and well, as opposed to from the aesthetic place? Like he was saying, I want you to be healthy, as opposed to I want you to be thin.
It certainly came from the, no, I want to make sure that you're healthy.
Okay.
Whether it started there, I'm not really sure, but my hope was that we were able to get to a more mindful place, and and a more complex place versus something that was more superficial.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that probably is more valuable to both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, especially for her sake, that to make sure that she knew that it wasn't something superficial. Oh, he wants to make sure that I don't look ugly.
Right.
And it's like, no, let's make sure that that's not the case. If you can explain yourself a little bit more, so we know that, no, he really cares about you.
Absolutely.
And he cares about himself. And, that's something that's going to make a stronger relationship.
Absolutely. And being able to bond and kind of share over that shared love of being well. And,
yeah.
How do you weave that into your life? That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great to open up that conversation before it becomes a problem. That preventive thing is really, really valuable.
Yeah, it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard. I mean, the conversations that we talk about are challenging. And that's what's exciting. And that's why people come to me.
Nice to have that source of support there, and that
Mm-hmm.
that expert to kind of weigh in and mediate and direct as needed.
Right.
So great.
Yeah, and what's always exciting for me is when couples say, wow, that wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. It's like, no, it could be easy, it could be fun.
Yeah.
You know, this building your relationship and keeping your relationship healthy can be exciting.
Absolutely. And should be.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I'm so glad you do what you do. Like that as a resource, and you as a resource for them. That's so great.
Yeah.
So if folks are looking to get more information on what you do, or perhaps chat about, working together, or what sort of, your officiating and your counseling could look like in their lives, how do they find you?
Best to look at my website so you could see all of the offerings and see what interests you.
Okay.
And then all my contact information is there as well.
Perfect.
So website is perfectunionny.com.
PerfectUnionNY.com?
Yep.
Perfect. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being
Thank
here, for
you.
sharing what you do and a little bit of your expertise. I appreciate it, and I'm so glad that you've joined us today as well.
Me too.
Yeah. So thank you for being here. Tune in next time for our next expert series, and do check out Hope's website because it's awesome. Thanks. See you later.